Netizens of Reddit, what do you think is the single greatest photograph in history? I'm not a big photography guy, so I can only show you my favorite photo from last year. Lindsay just looks so happy here. Now, on to the video. This one makes my heart race every time a pickup truck flees from the pyroclastic flow spewing from the Mount Point Pinatubo Volcano in the Philippines. What about the person taking the photo? He's hoping to hitch a ride with the car as it passes by. I'm sure there are better ones, but this one has always had a soft spot for me. Shows a surgeon who performed a heart surgery which lasted 23 hours. The patient was borderline impossible to save. From the article. Here, we see Dr. Big Neuraliga keeping watch on the vital signs of a patient after a 23-hour heart surgery he conducted. In the lower right corner, you can see one of his colleagues who helped him with the surgery fallen asleep. Dr. Aliga was a pioneer of heart transplantation in Poland, and even though the surgery was considered borderline impossible at the time, he took the chance, and the operation was entirely successful. Today, even though Dr. Aliga's heart has stopped beating, the one of his patient is still running. Jews being liberated from a death train in April 1945 being sent to Bergen-Belsen. The woman staring at the camera sobbing as she runs with her daughter, and the woman who is grinning for her life being saved, makes it an emotional picture. Oh, this made me cry. Great pic. Love the person just grinning with her hands out like AII. The person in the back just going like they thought they got me, but I just keep coming back. Lots of beautiful and haunting stuff in here. How about a more recent, obscure one? Girl watching her grandfather cry at a Veterans Day celebration. This photo really jumped out at me the first time I saw it. The look on her face says it all. She just learned that the world is a whole lot bigger than she thought it was. Her eyes are full of sorrow, and she looks like she's brimming with questions. Not sure if Open that link took it or not, but it's very nice. Daredevils play tennis in sky. Looks so unbelievable that it seems photoshopped, but it isn't, which makes it more badass. I hope they brought some extra balls. Pretty sure they have plenty. A Monk and His Brother by Roger Stonehouse. Roger Stonehouse missed an opportunity by not naming the same monk and a punk. Surprised to not already see a Harvest of Death listed here. One of the first Civil War photos taken, one of the first war photos ever taken, and the first widely circulated one. This photo was the first time most people with the privilege of not being on the battlefield got a glimpse of what it was like. This man fulfilling his promise to wear a green dress to his friend's funeral. I'm teary and giggling at the same time. I imagine his friend watching this from the other side and saying, "Duck, man. I didn't think you'd really do it. Oh my goodness. This is unbelievably moving. What a good friend and person." Malcolm X peeks out his window with a rifle amidst death threats. This is the first one that came to mind for me. This is so underrated, darn. Earthrise. Apollo 8, the first manned mission to the moon, entered lunar orbit on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1968. That evening, the astronauts Commander Frank Borman, Command Module Pilot Jim Lovell, and Lunar Module Pilot William Anders held a live broadcast from lunar orbit, in which they showed pictures of the Earth and Moon as seen from their spacecraft. Said Lovell, "The vast loneliness is awe-inspiring, and it makes you realize just what you have back there on Earth." They ended the broadcast with the crew taking turns reading from the book of Genesis. Transplanting ghost trees has to be the wildest photo I have seen. I have had it ingrained in my head since the first time I saw it. It looks like a painting. Are you telling me that's not a painting? Yup, Ike. It's a sand dune in the background. Wait for me, Daddy. I've always loved the small smiles of the men in line behind the father. Just a little bit of joy for them before hell. They went in an ammo, a ferry ride away. But yes, if they were actually going to war that would be terrible. This one made me choke up a little. Children of soldiers can relate to each other, even across time. I cried when my dad went to the Middle East when I was a teenager. My favorite part about this one is that the father and son were eventually reunited. General Nguyen shooting a Viet Cong prisoner, not only for its shocking portrayal of the harshness of war, but also for teaching us a lesson in learning the context behind the photo. The prisoner was caught cutting the throats of a South Vietnamese officer and his family, who were close friends of General Nguyen, and the general shot him in vengeance. Eddie Adams, the photographer, even said photos are only half-truths, and that they don't always explain the events that led to the moment. Adams would regret taking the Pulitzer Prize-winning photo, especially after the general received hate messages from those incensed at the photo's content. I've never heard the story behind the picture. Thanks for sharing that. The general ending up owning/working in some crappy food court pizzeria in a mall in America, if I remember correctly. He owned a restaurant in a strip mall not far from my house. I like this one. Yugoslav partisan defying Nazis before hanging. This picture is really special because at this moment he's yelling SMRT fascismu, Sloboda Narodu, which means death to fascism, freedom to the people. It became an important motto for the resistance. I don't know if this was posted, but the story is so heartbreaking. Grave of the Fireflies was based off of this. Just from skimming the first few photos in this thread, I've noticed a lot of sad photos vying for the greatest, so I thought I'd throw this one in. Easy Company, band of brothers, having a well-earned rest after capturing the Eagle's Nest, Hitler's private residence. This photo, not safe for work, is one of the only known photos in existence that shows the activities inside Auschwitz surrounding the mass execution of its prisoners. Photography in the camp was generally forbidden, even by the SS, but this was taken in secret by the Sonderkommando, a group of around 1,000 prisoners inside the camp who were selected by the SS to do all the dirty work, including disposing of and burning the bodies as they are in this photo. The Sonderkommando smuggled in a camera and took the picture from the doorway of a nearby gas chamber. They then managed to smuggle the film out of the camp in a tube of toothpaste. For me, it is one of the most horrifying photos in existence and just shows what humans are capable of at their worst. Probably already somewhere in here, but East German soldier defecting to West by jumping over the Berlin Wall when it was only barbed wire. This happened on the third day of its construction and the picture became a symbol for the Cold War. Whole story can be found here. It is actually painted on the wall of a building in Berlin at the checkpoint where it happened. I used to go jogging past it almost every day. Nothing as inspiring as some of these other comments, but this dunk photo of Larry Nance always does something for me. He just standing there like Jesus. This photo is of a pile of buffalo skulls. Buffaloes were nearly killed to extinction as part of a state-sponsored genocide of indigenous people. Buffalo was a major source of these people for food and materials. Killing buffalo was akin to cutting off the supply line. I still think this photo of a plane crash happening is one of the best I have seen. For those wondering, the pilot broke his legs but survived. Woke up in a greenhouse full of tomatoes thinking it was heaven lol. This picture of two engineers who hug each other knowing that they are going to die. From the article, the two men, only 19 and 21, were burnt on top of a wind turbine in Deltorijns Piet wind farm in the Netherlands. Both were 80 meters above ground, doing routine maintenance only for the fire to trap and chase them in the end. That's horrible. They were so young. This is the single highest resolution picture that has ever been shot. Looked at this for hours, just searching for something new to discover. This is such a cool interactive photo. I'll leave the link in the description for you guys to play with it. Having traveled here before, it brings back memories. Virunga Ranger with Gorilla. This picture contains a lot of powerful element. The backstory is so sad. For those who are interested, check out Virunga on Netflix. Speaking of gorillas, Martin Shkreli promised to resurrect Harambee.
Harambee, who is the gorilla that was killed at the Cincinnati Zoo.
Dimple just dropped a video on scientists being close to be able to clone extinct horses. Like and subscribe if you want Martin to keep his promise. Thanks for watching.